Hi, today I'm going to look at some recent combinations that were played in the tournaments throughout the world. I'm gonna be solving different positions for black. So in this position is black's turn. Maybe I'll switch to the black side of the board. So in this first position, there's a lot of stuff going on. It seems black has some attack against the white king, and also, you know, there's some attack that white has against the king too. And one thing is that I'd love to give this check on e1, but the rook is covering that square. So let's see. There's a pretty non-obvious way, I guess, to stop that, and that is to distract the rook from guarding e1. So let's try this. Yeah, and apparently that's the right move. Here white took on d7. If he takes here, then naturally the game just ends with checkmate. So that's understandable that he instead took on d7. Sorry. Can I do now? Well, I guess now I could just do this, knight f6, and then pick up the bulk of his material. Is there anything else I can do better? I can also maybe play queen e3 and see what he has to say to that. Sorry, bishop e3, and then that would also help because let me try this. I guess that was the move played. And bishop e3 is good because now this rook also comes here with decisive effect, and there's no longer a threat of rook to g8. So bishop e3 now is threatening mate on f1, and white played a3. Let's see what's the best way to wrap up the game here. I could go back to the idea of knight f6. I could give a check on c1 first, I guess. I think what I should try is just give a check knight c3. I think that's the most forcing way to win because it's just too many pieces will enter the attack. Yeah, and that's actually what he played. Knight to c3 is best. And now the point of knight c3 is that after knight c3, let's say he takes, and now the attack just continues decisively with mate. So I think the lesson here is that in positions like this, knight f6 may seem like a good move, but in this position, like knight f6 may seem like a good move, but you know it's better to find better moves like bishop to e3 and then just go for mate whenever you can, because that's the quickest way to win the game. And in sharp positions you might, if you start to play imprecisely, things may turn around pretty quickly. Like say knight f6 here is, well, actually that's crazy. I don't know what I was thinking because the pawn can just take me. Guess I'm still thinking a bit upside down, so ignore that. But bishop e3 is a pretty accurate move. Okay, let's move on to the next position. Save this. So here's black to move. Let's see, my queen is being attacked. The queen is being attacked, but I'm attacking here. So I can try to take here with the rook, that would be with check, but then he would take here back with the queen. Let's see, this is a bit tricky to calculate. At the moment the material is even, so let me just see. Rook takes with check, he takes back with check. Well, he takes back. And then if I take with the bishop, he takes here, and then he takes here. So this is horrible. let me explain this. So check seems like an obvious move, but it just doesn't work calculation-wise. And now, well, it doesn't make sense to not take back. So this is with check, and then that's black probably cannot save up an exchange. White's up an exchange. So this is completely, this would be bad, but the idea of taking on e3 is very powerful. Like, we just have to make it so that the c1 rook does not hit us on c8 with this pin, and also so that we can sell our queen for as much as possible. So a good way to continue would probably be queen b1. And now let's see what white played against that. He took on b1, but then we just win the piece, because we take here, and well, this is relevant. Black's up a piece. So black won this game. Let's move on to the next one. Oh wow! So here black has pretty intensive attack on the white king. But how do I? But the material is even, and how do I wrap it up? What are the options? There's something going on about the pressure on this bishop, definitely. But I think it's more about the. I think it's more about the light squares. I'm already having a rook here, and this pawn is really the only thing that is holding together the white position. Say if it was white turn, he doesn't really threaten to take on f3, because then his light squares would collapse. This bishop is too far away. You know, he's blocked by his own pawn from defending his king. So we just have to force him to make this pawn move. So I think the move could be something like rook to h3, and that actually was the move. And the idea is that if say he takes, right? Well, then I just go here, and I'm threatening all kinds of nasty. Basically, queen g6 mate. The king can't escape. If he tries to block the file with bishop g5, I just go here, and h4 does not work because I just win everything with a pin. This is a forced mate coming down the road here. So to backtrack, I don't think, and the threat is pretty obvious, just to capture here and then there. So after rook h3, he has to play something else. Let's see what he played. He played pawn to f3, but I'm crashing through with just taking on h2, yeah. And he can't take, like he can't take here because of mate. So in the game he took on c5, but what's the most accurate move here? I guess this. Queen to h4 now. This mate is inevitable. You can't avoid this mate. Okay, so this is a fairly typical idea of you know, forcing the opponent to expose his weak squares, and also keep in mind how the center here is completely separating the board in two parts. So black is dominating. Black is attacking with 4 pieces on the king side, and white has like 0 defenders for the king, and that really tips the scale, and that just you know, works out horribly for white and allows white to sacrifice a bishop or sacrifice a rook. The key piece here is this light squared bishop that as soon as it gets to f3, it's game over.